First, to the latest from the impeachment inquiry against U.S. President Donald Trump. The probe has now officially entered the next stage. The House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, has announced just a short while back that the House Judiciary Committee will be proceeding with drafting articles of impeachment against the president. Pelosi's announcement came just one day after the House Judiciary Committee held its first hearing in the inquiry. 3 of the 4 witnesses argued that Donald Trump committed impeachable offenses and that he has tried to pressurize Ukraine to investigate the Bidens. The committee heard testimonies on constitutional grounds for impeachment over the course of 8 hours. 3 of the 4 witnesses testified, saying that the president committed impeachable offenses in his dealing with Ukraine.
The facts are uncontested. The president abused his power for his own personal political benefit at the expense of our national security by withholding military aid and crucial Oval Office meeting in exchange for an announcement of an investigation into his political rival. Yesterday, at the Judiciary Committee, the American people heard testimony from leading American constitutional scholars who illuminated without a doubt that the president's actions are a profound violation of the public trust. The president's actions have seriously violated the Constitution, especially when he says and acts upon the belief. Article 2 says I can do whatever I want. No. His wrongdoing strikes at the very heart of our Constitution, a separation of powers, 3 co-equal branches, each a check and balance on the other. A republic, if we can keep it, said Benjamin Franklin. Our democracy is what is at stake. The president leaves us no choice but to act because he is trying to corrupt, once again, the election for his own benefit. The president has engaged in abuse of power, undermining our national security and jeopardizing the integrity of our elections.
And right after the announcement, President Trump has once again attached the impeachment process. He reiterated his claim that his phone calls with the Ukrainian president were perfect and that he will win. Our correspondent Harry Horton has been tracking the very latest, is now joining us live from Washington, D.C. for more on that. Harry, I have to first ask you, explain to us what happens next. Democrats hold a majority in the House, which makes the odds of the impeachment passing highly likely.
Highly likely, that's right. So over the next few weeks, Democrats will formally draft the articles of impeachment in one of their committees, which paves the way for that full vote in the House of Representatives, where the Democrats have a majority on impeaching President Donald Trump. So the reason Nancy Pelosi has made this announcement today is because clearly she believes, she's very confident that all of the Democrats within Congress will be voting in favor of impeaching President Donald Trump. She thinks she's got the numbers, that's why she's going ahead with the vote. Now, impeachment doesn't actually remove President Trump from office. If President Trump is impeached, as we expect he will be in the next few weeks, then there will be a trial in the Republican-controlled Senate. And only if 2/3 of lawmakers in the Senate vote to convict President Trump will he be removed from office. But the important thing to remember here is so far not a single Republican senator, not one, has indicated in any way that they might be considering voting to convict President Donald Trump. So I think for that reason, that's why we heard President Trump say in that tweet that he thinks he's going to win. That's why he might be feeling a little bit more relaxed about this process than he was perhaps a few weeks ago, because at the moment it seems as though Republicans are firmly sticking with President Donald Trump, and so long as that's the case, he's not going to be removed from office during this impeachment process.
Absolutely, and which is why in that tweet he says that he wants the trial to begin at the earliest. He cannot wait for it to begin, it seems. It's also interesting, Harry, to look at how Trump's approval rating seems to remain steady in the midst of the impeachment probe. What does that tell us?
Well, it tells us that I think for the last 3 years, the American public has been incredibly divided on President Trump. And you're right to say that President Trump's approval rating, although it's been fairly low and at some points historically low, broadly speaking, it's been pretty consistent over the past few years. It's remarkable how little that approval rating has fluctuated. Look, I think Democrats are pursuing this because they look at the same polls that the Republicans do, which shows that there is a narrow support in the United States for impeaching President Donald Trump. So Democrats think that they've got the backing of the US public. Now, of course, as we saw in the last US election, Hillary Clinton got more votes than Donald Trump, but didn't end up winning the election and becoming president. So it's not just about the raw percentages. It's about those crucial swing states across America. And I think at the moment, Republicans are looking at those crucial swing states and they think that support for impeachment in those crucial swing states is not very high, and that's why I think Republicans are quite confident about how this process is playing out for them politically. Democrats too also think that they can win some of those voters over. They might be able to convince them with more evidence over the next few weeks perhaps, but we seem to be set on a track here for an impeachment of President Donald Trump, but him failing to be removed from office in the US Senate.
Right, so that's where things are headed at this point. It's the next stage officially of the impeachment inquiry. We're going to leave it there for the moment. Harry Horton, appreciate very much your standing by and explaining to us the implications of what follows next.